Let's talk to Trevor Kavanagh, political columnist at The Sun, of course. Trevor, very good morning to you.
Good morning, Mike.
So, I mean, it's a big day, this, isn't it? I think that he's going to find Sadiq Khan that this is an unenforceable expansion. It's a step too far. Nobody wants it. People that I spoke to yesterday who were ringing in were really quite angry that he has pushed this through without any real deliberation, without any real consultation, and any consultation that he has had has been from people saying, we don't want it.
It's a very depressing day, isn't it, Mike?
Yeah.
I think that you've summed up in your prelude the sort of catalogue of woes which makes life covering politics and living in London and in Britain generally much more depressing than it has been in recent years.
Yeah.
Everything seems to be going haywire. We've got police that need to be told to do their job. We've got the NHS lecturing us on gender wars, and we've got Mayor Khan, an incompetent and incoherent mayor of London, our capital city, at war with his own citizens. And I think that I'm going to be actually fascinated by what happens by the end of today as people register and record their protest on this. They're not going to take this lying down.
Well, one of the things that a lot of people have told me is that there's no appeal system. So what happens is you register effectively your car if it's non-compliant, and you have to basically pay a fine if you drive it anywhere, but you can't even have an opportunity to deny that it was you driving the car, as you can if you get done for a speeding ticket. You know, they send you a letter saying, were you the driver? Were you, did your car pass this point at any particular time of this particular day? But you don't get that with ULEZ. You just literally get an automatic fine.
Yes, it's, the key is, the answer to all this is the amount of revenue that is estimated that Mayor Khan is going to raise from this. £1 billion from ULEZ. I mean, that's a phenomenal sum of money, and it's been hauled in order to fill the empty coffers of a spendthrift authority led by a man who simply has no idea how to run a municipal council. And the motorists are the game in this particular fair game, as far as he's concerned. They are the bottomless pit of revenue who can be milked. And I think that this is the point at which those sheep, in this case, begin to turn on him. And I think that the penalties, the reaction of the motorists, as this begins to hit them today, is going to be fascinating to watch. And I really do hope that it is a serious sort of rebellion which makes him sit up and take notice.
Well, absolutely. Yesterday, The Sun published a story of a man who is from a part of North London called Harefield, who challenged a series of ULEZ fines that he got, and he basically challenged them on the basis that there was no message on any sign that he drove around seeing which said he could be fined, and apparently that's against the law. Therefore, the fines are actually unenforceable. Yes,
and there are these other protests, but perhaps illegal, but wholly worthy, where people are going out and actually covering the cameras up or making sure that they're not working. This is a sort of, as I think you described at the beginning, a form of civil war now, which has been provoked by a mayor who simply will not listen and makes up spurious arguments based on twisted data to justify a form of penalty which is punitive to people who simply have an old car and they cannot afford to replace it. He's hitting the very people that Labour is supposed to be supportive of, the poorer members of society. And, you know, for me, living in the East End of London, if anyone wants to visit me by car, they have to pay £37.50 in congestion charge and ULEZ for the privilege. And as a result, I'm not getting many people driving in.
Well, that's the thing. But worse than that, yeah, and also worse than that, Trevor, will be those people who can't then operate as a business because, you know, their job will require them to visit people's homes. For example, if they're, I don't know, people that install furniture or install white goods or install all manner of different things, televisions, you know, and they'll either pass that on to the client, who's now going to have to pay another £12.50 for the privilege of getting something delivered, or they just won't do it.
Well, I think that they will have to pass it on to the client. So in a way, for some people, it's a double whammy. Yeah. They're paying their own congestion charge and ULEZ fines, and at the same time paying the extra cost of having work done, which would normally be done without that extra levy. Right. The tradesmen who are having to drive into London will not be able to absorb that sort of cost, £37.50 a day.
It really is quite an extraordinary amount of money. And if you have to pay that every single day because that's your job, you know, that's an awful lot. You know, you're talking about nearly £200 a week, you know, which if you add it all up at the end of the year, turns into thousands of pounds. And I mean, that's not even starting to have a conversation about how Sadiq Khan has basically manipulated the data to make out that people are actually in danger for their lives because of air pollution. One, that's not true. Two, he's twisted the facts. We know that he's paid £800,000 to this guy at Imperial College to do various studies. And it's an incredible waste of public money and an incredible kind of arrogance that he's operating under, whereby he takes no notice of anyone who disagrees with him. In fact, not only does he take no notice, he calls people who disagree with him COVID deniers, conspiracy theorists. I mean, I don't understand how he's even still got the job.
Frankly, I do not understand the language of most of the left-wing grievance sort of political dividers who are trying to hijack every agenda that we're discussing today. And the sad thing is that the Conservative Party, in its own way, has connived at this with the low-traffic neighbourhood installations where whole sections of a town have been blocked off by grant shaps and huge subsidies paid to install these blockages which stop people going shopping in their local communities. This is the part of the green agenda, which is in itself highly questionable. And the government and the local authorities are simply cashing in on this without really explaining, and in some cases actually deceiving the public about them.
Yeah, exactly right. And I mean, you've got Keir Starmer on the one hand saying that ULEZ is an unfair tax on the poor, except in London, where it isn't.
Well, I'm afraid that Keir Starmer and now Rachel Reeves have been, I think, fingered to people who cannot be trusted when they say something that there's a complete reversal of what they're saying 5 minutes ago.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Keir Starmer is absolutely in favour, not just of ULEZ, although it's a bit embarrassing to say so now, but also of the rolling out of the pay per mile scheme, which is part of Labour policy.
Yes.
Again, now being denied. But it is part of their policy, and indeed, frankly, I think also Conservative Party policy in the long run. They think that motorists are simply there to pay them just about everything they earn in taxes.
Exactly right.